Okay, good day. So now we are moving on to the second part of the circle, where we are saying the center is not equal to the origin. Okay, so the center is somewhere, not the origin. Now, so what we have, so this circle you can find this circle anywhere in the Cartesian plane. Okay, you can find it anywhere in the Cartesian plane. What is it? And your radius. Now, how do you get your radius? Again, that's how you actually get. You use Pythagoras theorem to say, how do I get my radius? Here we have got, what is it? So we're saying to find, let's say MP, how do we find it? MP squared, which is our, we can use distance formula, isn't it? Which is equals to X minus A, we square that, plus Y minus B, we also square that. Okay, now that's what we have there. Then now when you're saying MP is equal to R, so it's gonna be X minus A squared plus Y minus B squared. This is gonna give us R squared. So remember here, what do we have here? This is our radius, this is our center. Okay, then these are just another point there. So we have our center, which is your A and B. So the coordinate of the center is A and B. That's our coordinates of the center. Now, let's see something that comes in the questions here. I just want to show you something that you need to understand here when you're dealing with circles with the center, not the origin. I want you to understand what we call completing the square. Completing the square. So to see how you handle completing the square, let's just say you're given an what call an equation or in a polynomial, a trinomial, like for example, x squared plus 5x minus 6 is equal to 0. So what you do when you want to solve this using what you call completing the square, what you say here, you say x, you want to have a perfect square, you're going to say x squared, okay, plus 5x plus, we are going to add, modify this expression by adding and subtracting half of this, half of coefficient of x, which we're going to say plus 5 over 2 squared minus 5 over 2, we also square that. That's what we're having here. So then we have minus 6. So can you see what we're doing here? We are adding and subtracting. So this is actually 0. So if you say 5 over 2 squared minus 5 over 2 squared is 0. So that's what we're saying, we are modifying it. So these first three here will give what you call a perfect square. So you take the sign that we have here. So you say x now plus what we have here, 5 over 2 bracket root minus, we are now taking this. So this gives you the perfect square, this first three here. Then here minus 5 over 2 squared minus 6 is equal to 0. Then you can take these ones across the equal sign. Okay, that's what we have here. So that's what you must understand here. We're going to be dealing with it when you're solving, when you're solving, trying to find the coordinate of the center, when you're given, what you call a complicated equation. Okay, you need to apply completing the square. I will just do it now for you. Now, let's see here. Determine, first question, determine the coordinates of center and the length of the radius of each of the following circles. So here, what do we have here? We know that we are told that this is x minus a. We know that x minus a plus, so squared, y minus b, we square that is equals to r squared. Okay, so here in this case, we're given x minus 4 squared plus y plus 3 squared is equals to 25. Now, what do we know now? This is r squared. This is what is it? This is a. So in this case here, what do we know in this case to find a? Minus a is equal to minus 4. That's what we can see here. So a is equals to 4 for this one. So a is equals to 4. So you're saying minus a is equals to minus what? Minus 4. Then we cancel the negative. A is equal to 4. Then what else are we looking at? We're looking at B. So we're going to say minus B is equals to 3, positive 3. Then we divide by negative both sides. B will be equals to negative 3. So what we can just do here to find your coordinates of center, you just interchange. When it's negative here, you're going to put it positive. When it's negative positive, you just put it as a negative. Okay, that's it. Now, what do we know now? That's what we have here. So our center, coordinate of the center will be equal to, remember, center is AB. What is our A? Is 4. What is our B? Negative 3. That's our center. What about length of the radius? Length of the radius, we know that r squared is equal to 25. So length of the radius is going to be, r is going to be equal to root of 25, which we'll get as 5. Remember here, you can't put plus minus because the length can't be negative in this case. So you just choose the positive one. So that's what I'm saying, it's just a plus 5. That's the answer is. Now, let's now see a different case where we are given this information here. We are told that it's x squared minus 8x plus y squared plus 6x is equal to 2. Now you want to make this to find the equation of the the coordinates of the center. Now, what do you need to do first? You need to express this in the form of x minus a squared plus y minus b squared is equals to r squared. That's how you should express it. That's how you should express. So how do we express it now in that case? We are now apply, what is it? We now apply completing the square for each of them. So we apply completing the square for x. So this one is what? This is 6y, sorry. We apply complete the square for x, we apply complete the square for y. So what are we going to do now? We're going to say x squared minus 8x plus 4 over 2, because remember 8 over 2, sorry, 8 over 2. 8 over 2 is the coefficient of x. So we square that, minus 8 over 2. We square that. We now say plus y squared plus 6y plus 6 over 2. We square that, minus 6 over 2. We also square that. Then is equal to 2. That's what we get there. Now, when we have that now, what do we do after that? We are going to say it's going to be x. I want to write it nicely here. X squared minus 8x plus 4 minus 4 plus y squared plus 6y plus 3 squared, sorry, minus 3 squared is equals to 2. Now, what do you do now? You know that this is a perfect square. This is also a perfect square. Where do you take the sign? Take the sign here. So you'd say x minus 4. We square that. We're now left with negative 4 here. Minus 4 squared is going to be minus 16. Then what else do we have here? We take y plus y. We take the plus here. Plus what is the perfect square? 3. We take the 3. We square that. Minus 3 squared is 9 is equals to 12. So now what are we going to do now? We're going to take negative 16, negative, negative 9 to that side. It's going to be x minus 4 squared plus y plus 3 squared. 16 plus 4, negative 16 plus negative 9 is going to give us negative 25. It's going to be equal to 22 plus 25, because now it's going to be positive. Now what are we left with here? It's going to be x minus 4 plus y plus 3 is equals to 27. Okay, that's what we have here. So we've got 16 here. Then we have got, what else do we have? We have got 3 here. 6 over 2 is equal to 3. Okay, we are all right. Now, what else do we have there? Negative 9. Okay, now that's everything is coming right here. Now, what do we do now from there? We want the center. Center is going to be 4 and negative 3. Okay, What about the radius? The radius here, radius, you know that r squared is equals to 27. That's what we get. Then r should be equals to root of 27. And when we say root of 27, what do you get? Root of 27, we get 3 root 3. So our r should be equals to 3 root 3. That's how you get to the answer there. Okay. So I hope you understand this, guys, of this concept of completing the square. Now, let's move on again to some questions also that include maybe complete the square, where we need to maybe to group I'm just going to take this one here. So we have the equation x squared plus y squared plus 10x minus 3y plus 1 is equal to 0. Okay. Okay, so here let's look at what we have here. So what we are going to do first is to rearrange. So we are arranging the x's. So when x squared plus 10x, then we're taking the y plus y squared minus the 3y plus 1 is equal to 0. Okay, now what do we do now? We already know now what we're supposed to do with when you are completing the square. X squared plus 10x plus 10 over 2, we square that, minus 10 over 2, we square that, plus y squared minus 3y plus 3 over 2, we square that. Remember, we are squaring everything here, not only 3, everything, minus 3 over 2 plus 1 is equal to 0. Okay, so what we have now, this one becomes the perfect square, this one becomes also a perfect square. So we are taking what we have here, what we call the root here, what we have, and also what we have here, but it's the sign, you take the sign here. So it's going to be x plus 10 over 2. 10 over 2 should be what? 10 over 2 is 5. Then we square. Then I want you guys to learn something here. This is negative 10 over 2 and negative 3 over 2. We must take them this side. Okay, so we're going to say plus what do we have here? We have got y minus 3 over 2. We square that. Okay, minus, so it's going to say minus 10 over 2, which is 5 squared, minus 3 over 2 squared plus 1 is equal to 0. Okay, so what we have now is that we are going to calculate this and see what is the value of this. So we're going to say x plus 5 squared plus y minus 3 over 2 squared. Then we're going to say minus 5 squared minus bracket, minus 5 squared minus, open the bracket, we have 3 over 2. Okay, we close that, we square that, plus 1. What do we get? We get negative 105 over 4. Then that negative there, we're going to say what? We're going to say is going to be equal to positive 105 over, which is 26,25. Okay, so that's what we have here. So that's our r squared. That's what we have here. So we have now our center. Our center should be what? Our center should be 5, negative 5 because of the positive here, and 3 over 2. That's our center. Then our radius, our r squared is 26,25. So our r should be equal to root of 26,25. What is root answer? So we're going to say times 1, negative 1 here. We just want to have it as a positive. Then we'll say root of the answer. What do we get? We get 5,12. which is, you can write it, okay, which is gonna be 5,12 units. Okay, that's what we are having there. Now, let's see another one that we can also try to check. Now, let's have that. Let's have that 2x squared plus 2y squared minus 6x minus 12y is equal to 3. Now, in this case, now, remember your equation, for you to complete the square, the coefficient of your x squared or be it y squared, it should be 1. It should be 1 always. So it has to be 1. So, for example, when you're completing the square, let's say for the equation ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. What do you have to do? You have to get rid of a here. A should always be 1. So you have to, if it's not 1, you mean that you're going to say x squared plus b over a x minus plus c over a is equal to 0, because you're going to divide throughout by a, so that you can have coefficient of 1 here. It should be 1 always here. Okay, so let's come to our question and see what you're supposed to do first. Divide by 2 throughout. Divide by 2 throughout. Okay, it's gonna be x squared plus y squared minus 3x minus 12. Oh, no. Remember, divided by 2 minus 6y is equals to 3 over 2. That's what you're having here. Then you're going to take the x that side, x squared minus 3x plus y squared minus 6y is equal to 3 over 2. Then we do our completing the square, x squared minus 3x plus 3 over 2 squared minus 3 over 2 squared, half of the coefficient, minus 3 over 2 squared plus y squared minus 6y plus 6 over 2 squared minus 6 over 2 squared is equal to 3 over 2. Then here, our perfect square, we have it. Our perfect square, we have it. It's going to be x minus 3 over 2 squared, then plus y minus 3, well, 6 over 2, it's going to give us 3 squared is equals to 3 over 2 plus 3 over 2 squared, because this one is negative, this side is going to be positive. That side is going to be 3 over 2 squared plus 6 over 2 squared. I'm just writing this so that you understand that we have shifted this to that side, okay, as they are, not answers. But now let's see what we're getting here. X minus 3 over 2 squared plus y minus 3 squared is going to be equals to, let's put it down here, 3 over 2, okay, plus, in bracket, 3 over 2 but this one, we know this one, because this one plus 3 squared, I'm just punching so that you can see clearly. Now we get 51 over 4, or should we say 12,75. Okay. Now, what do we get now from there? We're going to say your center is going to be 3 over 2 and 3. Okay. Then our radius, r squared, is going to be equals to 12,75. Then r should be equals to root of the answer. Sorry. Root of the answer should give us what? Should give us 3,57. Let's just see root 12,75. 75. Okay, 3,57. Okay, 3,57 units. That's how we get to the answer. Okay, now let's see if we can have another examples. Okay, let's see another scenario that we have here. We are told that determine the equation of the circle in each case with center and radius done. Okay, so I'm going to try this one here, and I'm going to try another scenario where I'm given 2 points. We can have 2 points here. So here we are given, we know that the equation of the circle 2a is x minus a squared plus y minus b squared is equals to r squared. So x minus a, what is our a? Our a here is what? Our a here is 2, because it's so in this case it's -2. So we are going to say if we are to have that, it's going to be equal to 2 because it's negative. Plus, what do we have there? Y minus 1 is equals to 4 squared. Then here we're going to say x plus okay, that's what we have. That's our answer there. That's the equation of the circle which we want, because here what you don't need to stress yourself here, because for next time here, when you're having a coordinate as a negative, you know that it will be positive here. When you're dealing with this type of question that we have here, when it's negative here, you know that a will be positive. When it's positive, a will be negative. That b will be negative. So whenever it's positive, it's negative, the opposite sign. That's what you just need to master there. Okay. But now let's see again when it's C, 2C, and see what we are required to do. Calculate the equation of the circle with center M. So M is what? -3 and 1, and A at a point of we just given a point, and a point 2 and what? -2. So we want to find the equation of the circle. So equation of the circle must find radius first, and the radius is between these 2 points, a center and a point on the circumference. So radius r squared should be equals to change in x, 2 minus going to give us minus plus 3 squared then we take the -1 plus -2 -1 squared. Then here is 2 plus 3 negative and negative squared plus -2 negative is going to be -3 squared. That's our r squared there. Then what do we get? There is going to be 5 squared plus 9. 5 squared plus 9, we get 34. Okay, so r squared is equals to 34. Now our center, we have it. We are using this one now because this is our center. Our center now, we're going to say x minus a. We have a positive, we have negative here. It's going to be plus 3 squared. Then what do we have? Plus y. Then what we have here is a positive, so it's going to be -1 squared is equal to 34, because 34 is already r squared. So that's your equation then. That's the equation of the circle then. Okay. So I hope you guys understand what you need to master here. Just know that when you're picking from the center, we chose this M because it's our center. You don't use the coordinates on the circumference. Now, we are given the equation of the circle with radius that units is x squared minus 6x plus y squared minus plus what? Plus 2y minus m is equal to 0. Now, determine the coordinates of the center of the point of the circle. So here we are told that the radius So R is equals to 3 root 2. That's our R. Then what are we going to do now? Sorry about that. You didn't see clearly there. That's our equation. Then R is equal to that. Then what are we going to do to determine the coordinate of the center? We need to what is it? You must make sure here you complete the square. X squared minus 6x plus 6 over 2 squared minus 6 over 2 squared plus y squared plus 2y plus 2 over 2 squared minus 2 over 2 squared minus m is equal to 0. That's what we have there. Then what are we going to do? Complete the square. Here, complete the square. What are we getting here? It's going to be x minus 3 squared. Then we're going to say plus y, because of the plus, we are taking what? 1 here. 1, 2 over 2 is 1 squared. Then we are going to say what? We're going to say is equal to negative m is going to be positive. That side is going to be m plus, what do we get there? 6 over 2 is going to be 3 squared. Because it's a plus now, because it's negative. When it's close, the equal sign it becomes positive. Then what is it? Plus 1 squared as well. Then what do we get now? We get x minus 3 squared plus y plus 1 squared is equals to 9 plus 1 is going to give us 10. 10 plus m. That's what we get there. That's our r squared here. Okay, that's our r squared. So here we are putting it in terms of m. That's the first equation that we have here for A. So we have the coordinate of the center. So center will be equal to 3 and 1 and negative 1. Remember, opposite sign. Center is equal to 3 and negative 1. Okay. Then what else do we need to find? We need to find m. Now, how would we get m? We know that this is r squared and this one is r. So what do we know now? We know that r squared is equals to 10 plus m, which is equals to what? 3 root 2 squared. So we're going to say 10 plus m is equals to 3 root 2 squared. Why are we saying that? Because this is r and we need to square it. Because what we have here is what will represent r squared according to the general equation of the circle. Then what are we going to get here? If we say, sorry, 3 root 2 squared, we square that, what do we get? We get 18. So it means that 10 plus m is going to give us 18, and m is going to be equals to 18 minus 10, which is going to give us 8. So our m is equal to 8. That's how you calculate that. Okay, let's move on to the last part. Now they are saying make a rough sketch of the circles below. Determine the equation of the circle with BC as diameter. If B and C are points, what you call on this points. Okay, these are the points that we have here. We're in the circle. If B and C is the diameter, and so what it means here, it means that if we are to sketch a what is it? A Cartesian plane, we have our 2 and 3, 2 and negative 3, 2 and negative 3. So we can say 2 here and negative 3 this side, this point here. And we've got 6 and negative 1, 6 and negative 1, another point there. And negative 1, which can be here. Now, what we are told here, it means that the circle here, we can draw the circle like this. I didn't draw the nice circle here, but anyway, this is 2 and negative 3. This is another point, 6 and negative 1. Okay, so you can call this. I know their name there is B. Then this one is what? It's C. Okay, this is our point C. So what are we going to do now? This is Y. This is what? X going there. This is our origin. then we're saying 1, then we're saying 2 here, then it goes on like that up until 6 there. Then now, what are we worried about here? We're just going to be, we are looking for what? Equation of the circle. Equation of the circle, what must we do first? What must we do first? So it means that this circle is not properly drawn. Let me just try to sketch it nicely. Okay. So let's have this point here as 2, as B, 2 and negative 3 here. There's another one here as our C, which is 6 and negative 1. Okay. Now we are told that this is a diameter, meaning to say it's passed through the center. Okay, so that's what we have here. So now the question is, now we need to find the equation of the circle. What must we do first? We must have coordinates of the center, which is our M, midpoint. Okay, so M is a midpoint. So we know that M, how do you find M? So MBC is equals to XB plus XC, sorry, over 2, comma, YB plus YC over 2. So what do we do now? What is our, in terms of XB, is 2 plus 6 over 2, then negative 3, negative 1 over 2. Then what do we get here? We're going to get 2 plus 3, 2 plus 6 is going to give us 8 plus divided by 2 is going to give us 4. Then negative 3, negative 1 is going to give us negative 4 divided by 2 is going to give us negative 2. So that's our center there. That becomes our center. So it's negative, it's 4 and negative 2. So here is our center, which is now 4 and negative 2. 4 and negative 2, that becomes our center. I'm going to just try to color it. Now, when we have our center, now what do we do now? We are going to say, okay, we need to find radius, because in the equation there is radius. So how do we get radius? We know that the radius, the distance, you can use any of these two. So what are we going to do now? We're going to say, okay, R squared is going to be equals to 1 point. You're going to use M and C. So we're going to use M and C. So we're going to say R squared is going to be equals to change in X. So X minus 6 minus 4 squared plus negative 1, negative 2 squared. Then what do we get? 6 minus 4 squared is going to be 2 squared, which is going to be 4, plus negative 1 plus 1, we get 1 squared, which is going to be what? Which is going to be 1. Then what are we going to get here? It's going to be equals to 5. So R squared is equals to 5. So equation of the second now, therefore, equation of the second is going to be X minus 4 squared plus Y plus 2 squared is going to give us 5, which is R squared. Okay, that's how we get the, the equation of the circle there. We have equation of the circle now. Determine the equation of the circle with center 4 and B, where B is greater than 0, which casts the y-axis at 0, 1 and the x-axis at 7 and 0. Now, this is very easy, because you are given 2 points here. These 2 points, because that's where it cuts, because it cuts the points here. So when you're given the where it cuts the points, you are given the coordinates there. So it means that in this case here, your circle will look like this. So it cuts 0 and 7, 7 and 0. We're gonna say 0 and 1, no. 0 and 1, okay, I see it. Now, it means that it's cutting here, and it's also cutting at 7 and 0 there. So let's just try to check if we can draw something that is quick here, okay? Let's see what we get here. It's not tight enough, sorry. I'm just gonna draw it, just a sketch, guys. Don't stress. No stress here. But it's just for you to understand when you're dealing with these circles, so that you know what you're supposed to do. So this is your center here, and it's cutting here, and it's cutting there at 7, 0, and it's cutting there at 0, 1. So this becomes your diameter now. You see now it becomes your diameter. It becomes your diameter. So now with your diameter now, what must you do? Again, we know that we are told that is 4 and B, okay? So we can find that B. And now we know that equal the circle, we want to find the center. So center midpoint is gonna be equal to 7 plus 0 over 2, then 1 plus 0 over 2, which will get 7 over 2 in terms of x. So 7 over 2 and also 1 over 2. That's our center there. So it's 7 over 2 and 1 over 2. Then we can just mark that. That's our center. Now, what do we also know that? We also know that, okay, so it means that if it is 7 over 2, what are we going to get there? Yeah, there's a mistake here, guys. Sorry about that. There's a mistake here. So what we have here is that this is where your circle, it touches there. It touches the points, yes, but those, it does, when you connect those points, it doesn't give us a diameter, okay? So that was what you call a mistake there. Let me show you what you're supposed to do here. You are given the coordinates. You are given the coordinates 0 and 1 and 7 and 0. Okay. So these coordinates, what you're going to use them, we know that it's our equation of the circle should be what? Should be x minus a okay. So here we know that our equation squared plus y minus b squared is equals to r squared. But now what we know is that, let's just take this from this point. Let's take the center to put it here to that point there. Okay, these distances are equal, meaning to say this is a radius, this is a radius. Okay, so what do we know now from this? We know that if we are to use this coordinate here in the center, and our center, we are told that it's 4 and b, 4 and b. So it's 4 and b, that's the center. So we know that when it's distance from this point to the center and distance from this point to the center should be actually equal. So what do we do now? We want to use what we call the values center. So we're going to say 0 minus, calculate the distance between this point and the center. We're going to say 0 minus 4 squared plus 1 minus b squared is equal to, they are equal to 7 minus 4 squared plus 0 minus b squared. So these two are equal because the radius is equal. So here what we do, we solve this one, is going to be 16 there. Then this one is going to be plus 1 squared. Then 1 times negative 2 minus 2b times 2, going to give minus 2b. B plus b squared is equal to 7 minus 4 is going to give us 3. 3 squared is 9. Then plus b squared. So b squared and b squared, we're going to cancel, because if you take b, there's going to be minus and it's going to cancel. So b squared and b squared is cancelled. So we are left with minus 2b. Minus 2b is going to be equal to, we're going now to say 9, which we have here. 9 minus 16 plus 1 is 17. 9 minus 17, we get minus 8. Minus 8. So we have got b as 4. So b is 4 and our x is equals to 4. So our center now is 4 and 4. Okay, so equation of the circle, we use the center. And now, but what about the radius now? Radius, we can substitute here for b. We can substitute here for b to say our r squared is equals to what? Is equal to 0 minus 4 squared plus 1 minus 4 squared. What do we get? We're going to get 4 squared is 16 plus, what do we have? 1 minus, it's going to be minus 3 squared, it's going to be 9. We get 25. So r squared is equals to 25. So equation of the circle is going to be x. These are all positive. So it's going to be x minus 4 squared plus y minus 4 squared is equals to 25. That's how we get our equation of the circle. Okay, sorry guys for taking you the wrong way at first. Okay, sorry about that. Now that's how we should get to your answer. Okay, so I think on the next paper as well, we're gonna be looking at tangents, and the last one will also looking at the what we call some question papers, questions from question papers. Then you see how you are supposed to tackle them. Okay, I hope you understand, guys. Thank you so much. Okay, bye bye.